Hello, welcome to Five Guys, Movies, and Fries, podcast where some guys get together and talk about movies. Tonight, there's only three of us here. We've got me, Jeff. We've also got Knacker.
Hello.
And Joe.
Hey, how's it going?
Tonight, we are talking about The Tragedy of Macbeth, a movie by Joel Coen, starring Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand, obviously based off the Shakespeare play, Macbeth, or the Scottish play.
Not to be confused with the Roman Polanski with the same title, The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Or that god-awful one with Michael Fassbender. We're just going to kind of hop right in with some conversation about it here. This is a movie I saw a couple years ago with Knacker and very much enjoyed. I find Shakespeare to be a little bit hard to parse, and this movie was very accessible for me. I thought it had great performances. I loved the sets. I loved the way this movie looked a lot. What'd you guys think of it?
Well, you know I love it because we watched it for the first time together. So
yeah, I
don't need to convince you how much I fucking love this this version of Macbeth. But I'm with you. I have to. The sets are fucking phenomenal because they do so much in the way they're made. Because they feel like they're the sets in this movie are the perfect blend of looking like movie set production and play set production.
Yeah,
they hit the middle line so fucking well. I love it so much. And I think it's done perfectly with the small stone-built hut that's in the middle of the fork in the road. I feel like that is the perfect example of how well the set production in this movie is done visually, because it hits those notes so well, and because the way the set production is done so in such a minimalist way where they do a perfect blend of computer generated imagery and physical set production, that it's done in such a way that really it's mentioned in the behind the scenes featurette that we've seen together, you and I, Jeff, that mentions it really adds an extra layer to Macbeth's hallucinations, because they come in so well and so hot that it makes it so you're really witnessing these hallucinations with Macbeth together. Like, as a viewer, it puts you into those visions so well. And that's just the way the set production is laid out, because it brings those visions out.
It allows you to focus more on the performances. You know what I mean? Like, you could really just watch Denzel and Frances McDormand really chew everything that they're in without your eyes wandering all over the place. Like, you really just focus on what's happening between the actors. How about you, Joe? What are your initial thoughts?
Well, I thought it was great, but it was a bit of a hard watch for me. I'm not a big Shakespeare guy. I don't know if you guys are Shakespeare nuts.
Not huge, but
no.
I know I rewatched Henry V, which I'll probably talk about another time, but I do have an appreciation for Shakespeare without diving into it too much.
Is that a Kenneth Branagh one?
Yes, the Kenneth Branagh Henry V is fucking phenomenal. But anyway, we're not here to talk about it.
See, I'd like to watch some more, like some Orson Welles, Kenneth Branagh, the Roman Polanski one. I haven't seen a lot, but this is probably the best Shakespeare thing I've ever seen. But I'm glad we didn't do a complete run of Shakespeare just movies. I'm glad it's just movies based on plays.
And because I was on the fence about pitching another Shakespeare movie for my final rec, but we'll come to that at the end of this anyway.
Yeah, I had never seen this. I read it in high school. Didn't remember anything from it really, except for like the kid next to me who got his copy of it, and he goes, Macbeth. Macbeth.
Can I get a large Macbeth?
Yeah. I don't know. I do love the cinematography, the sets, but I have trouble judging whether Shakespearean acting is good or bad, because to me it kind of sounds like they just have the lines memorized and they're just saying the lines that Shakespeare wrote, and they're either saying them dramatically or quietly or loudly. I don't know. I have trouble following the patter and the old time expressions. So it was a hard watch, but it's interesting.
From my understanding, a lot of Shakespeare is about how the actors decide to portray what's written. I've seen maybe 5 different versions of the scene where the queen dies, like that whole monologue there. I've seen 5 different actors do it, and each one brings something different to the words, like what's written. And I really like what Denzel Washington does with it in this movie. He really brings a lot of, not necessarily force, but a lot of weight to it. It doesn't feel as flowery. It feels a lot more grounded, and I like that about it. But yeah, it feels a lot more, I don't know, human, I guess. Like it's a lot easier for me to relate and understand what's going on. I care more about the characters and what's happening on screen. I very much was invested in what was going on with Macduff, even though a lot of it was happening in the background. But I gave a shit and I understood what was happening. It helped me to watch this movie a couple times to really put all of the pieces together. But I think a lot of my ability to understand is really in how it was put across to me. And I think that's one of the strengths of this movie, and especially the strengths of the actors and what they bring to it.
Yeah, for this kind of movie, I would have loved to just done my homework, read the play.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you in wanting to understand I want to understand the movie better, but without being just so awestruck with the visuals and the performances. I couldn't before Jeff and I watched this for the first time. I couldn't have even dreamed knowing that I'm so glad that this movie was my introduction to knowing that Denzel Washington is classically trained, and he nails it.
Yeah.
He fucking nails it pretty fucking well. Yeah, he's very well classically trained, and I couldn't be more thankful to have him chosen by Joel Coen to have portrayed Macbeth, because I believe they went through at least a couple choices when it came to who they were going to cast, but I'm really glad they landed on Denzel opposite Francis McDormand. And I know Denzel talks about how he'd never worked with a married couple before, like at pretty much at the helm of this is very much a Joel Coen's vision of Macbeth, and I couldn't be happier with it. But
and I don't know if we've mentioned, but this is Joel Coen's first solo foray.
And we did. I remember us saying that, and I have trouble believing it, but but knowing that fact is also still very fun to know.
That is interesting. Yeah.
I know I can't go the entire cast without mentioning that while they were shooting the movie, Denzel would have came to Joel Coen a couple times, probably more than once, because Denzel wanted to pick up on more directing tips. And he came to Joel at one point where I believe it's the scene where there's one particular set piece where it's very cylindrical, and Joel gets many shots of the ceiling, and Denzel came to Joel and asked, "Hey, I notice you've got this angle from like the camera closer to the floor, aiming almost diagonally upwards towards that ceiling. Does the ceiling have any sort of particular meaning or representation that I'm not picking up on? Is there a reason why this is shot this way?" And Joel's like, "No, I just like how the ceiling looks. I just really like how that ceiling fucking looks, and that's why I shot it that way." And I was like, "Oh, I couldn't be happier with the way that conversation turned out." But yeah, Joe, you got something to say?
Yeah, you were just talking about casting. I just want to say that Kathryn Hunter really just nailed her part as the witches.
Oh, fucking A, dude. Those sisters are hypnotic every time. It's like because for me with those sisters is because I don't know whether I have trouble leaning whether Macbeth is actually going insane from his own doing, or whether there's some actual supernatural element happening has a much more bigger hand in what is happening.
I feel like that's the main question of the movie, is whether or not Macbeth, maybe not necessarily culpable, but whether or not he's responsible for the turn of events that happen. Because the witch is telling him effectively the prophecy of what's going to happen in his life. At that point, is it on him and the choices that he makes that cause all of these events to happen, or were they all just going to happen? Like, what is his choice and what is fate, and where is the line between the two?
Thank you. Yeah.
A lot of it's very kind of subtle too. I never picked up the first time I watched it. I didn't pick up on the idea of the woods coming to the castle. Like, they talk about how when they start to see that wood, or when he sees the wood from those trees or that forest on his castle walls, then that will be his downfall. And they see it because they bring those brushes to like hide their approach. You know what I mean? It's such a subtle little thing.
If you remember the scene where the sisters come back to converse with Macbeth, and it's where he asks them to Macbeth asks those sisters to reveal their master to him, and Macbeth shall never vanquished be until great Burnham Wood to high Dunsinane Hill shall come against him. I don't know if you remember that, and that's that right there is all I can really, I can only bring them just warning him on how he can be warned that his death is coming. And then when they pick up the foliage and almost hide their approach towards his castle, I guess I'm just trying to piece those two things together.
Do you think that Macbeth had eyes on the throne before he met the witches?
I don't think he did. I think that's the point of it, is that they put that idea in his head and they cursed him in a way.
At the very beginning.
It does kind of feel like his wife pushes him too.
Right, yeah.
Like the scenes we get between him and Frances McDormand, it definitely feels like she's kind of shoving him out the door in regards to how he's going to handle the king, I guess.
I feel like it's supposed to be a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way.
Yeah, I can fall on that.
Also, what's his name? Stephen.
Oh, Stephen Root. Stephen Root. Yeah, the porter.
Yeah, I was so surprised to see Stephen Root in this movie.
I feel like because he's a Coen Brothers veteran.
Oh yeah,
he's in Buster Scruggs. He's in a number of Coen Brothers movies. I guarantee it.
Yeah,
just to see him in this movie, though, you know what I mean? Like, I was definitely not.
Yeah, Bill from King of the Hill.
Yeah, I couldn't be happier with the cast of this movie. Really, I could not be happier. Like, because I have to talk about Brian Thompson being in this movie. I have to talk about how the first time I saw Brian Thompson in anything was probably Sylvester Stallone's Cobra. But so I've really only ever seen Brian Thompson as just like a thug or a criminal in almost everything. So and you saw when we watched the movie together that I just almost leapt out of my skin seeing the man, who is the alien bounty hunter from X-Files in this movie. I just about leapt out of my skin because I just appreciate his work in so many ways. And seeing him in this was a joy. But also like seeing Brendon Gleeson as Duncan and Ralph Ineson as the captain at the beginning was also a joy to see. Yeah, just so many.
There was this performance that really stuck out to me. It was like we got just a second or two of it. I believe he played the character Malcolm.
Oh, Harry Melling. I've seen him in a number of things. He was in Queen's Gambit and a number of other things. Yeah, I've seen his face a number.
Yeah, the fight between him and Macbeth is great because they don't really talk about it in the movie, but Macbeth is supposed to be a phenomenal fighter. Like, he's supposed to be just this.
Oh, you mean the final fight? Then that's not Harry Melling.
No. Not with Macduff. Yeah, when like he comes in and like yells at him, and then they have like Macbeth effectively fights him without a sword. like just flings some blood into his face. Richard Short, Seaward is the name of the guy.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, he just kind of shows up out of nowhere just so Macbeth can fight him. But that scene really stuck out to me, and I really like how they portrayed that fight in particular. Like Macbeth just feels in charge the entire time because he knows that he was of woman born. I love the look and his reaction when he talks to Macduff, and he says, well, you must be of woman born. He said, I can't remember the exact quote, but he effectively says, no, I was from my mother's womb untimely ripped. And you see that look on Macbeth's face, like, this is it, you know? And even then, he still doesn't stand down because he's fucking Macbeth. Like, he's still ready to go. Oh, it's so well done. And it feels like there's no wasted time in this movie. Like, everything is just perfectly paced. It just goes and goes and goes. It does kind of drag in the middle a little bit, but even then I'm still engaged. And it's all important. Like, I don't feel like, once again, that there's any wasted scenes. I don't feel like we're really dilly-dallying around.
No, I can get that from maybe the dinner scene where he sees both Banquo and the Crow kind of go down the hallway as he has guests over.
Mm-hmm.
I can see how maybe did you have a little difficulty with like that scene, feeling like that kind of dragged a little bit?
A tiny bit. But again, I feel like that's important. I feel like we really need to see what's happening to him and Lady Macbeth mentally.
Right.
I also, the guy who is selling him out to the prince, Ross, I believe is his name.
Yeah.
He is such a great character. He just kind of in the background pieces together and like saves that kid that they were going to try to kill. And I'm pretty sure it's implied that he killed Lady Macbeth, that he's the one that pushed her down the stairs, because we see him coming up the stairs as she's standing towards the top, I think sleepwalking or just kind of having snapped. And then the next time we see her, she's dead at the bottom of the stairs. But I really like how that's all just kind of happening behind Macbeth's watch. You know, it's just.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, overall, I'm really glad that I watched this movie. It's really nice to see some accessible Shakespeare that a pleb like me can ingest and enjoy.
Yeah, I share that feeling. I really do.
Yeah, the only other Shakespeare I've really seen, like I've read some Shakespeare. I've seen probably 2 or 3 different renditions of Romeo and Juliet. One that I liked and the rest that I didn't. Yeah, I haven't seen Henry V at all. I'm very interested in seeing it. I've seen like clips of Kenneth Branagh doing Shakespeare, and
Kenneth Branagh just breathes and bleeds Shakespeare. I can't tell you how much that guy just has such a high caliber of Shakespeare talent in the fiber of his fucking being. And somehow my mom has told me that I used to watch Henry V and even just like speak the script word for word. I somehow baffled at how I could even do that at such a young age. But coming back to Henry V was a real joy.
This feels like such a perfect Shakespeare play for a Coen to approach.
Yeah.
Like Macbeth in a way feels like a Coen brothers protagonist, where he's just like if I was to take Macbeth and put him up against
The Big Lebowski.
I don't know. Yeah, like Big Lebowski. Well, maybe not so much Big Lebowski. The one that had Josh Brolin in it that I can't remember the name of for some godforsaken reason.
No Country for Old Men with Sugar or Anton Chigurh.
Yeah, so like Brolin's character in that movie feels kind of like Macbeth in a way, where it's just his fuck ups are causing him to be in the situation that he's in, but it also feels like he's being chased by fate. So it's like a combination of him making poor decisions and choices and spinning this net around him while also having fate breathing down his neck. Like I can't imagine a Coen Brothers Romeo and Juliet or a Coen Brothers Henry V, but I can definitely imagine a Coen Brothers Macbeth.
Raising Arizona was basically their Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I should rewatch that.
That's Nick Cage, yeah?
Yeah, Nick Cage.
It's 2 I need to put down. Anyway.
They're kind of star-crossed lovers, I think.
You know, they're just a couple just trying to adopt a baby, you know? But yeah, overall, I very much had a good time watching this. I would love to watch it again. I will never be salty if this is on TV or if this is on my television.
If it's on Apple Plus at the time.
God, I hate that it's on Apple Plus. I hate that it's on Apple Plus.
Yeah.
I wish it would be literally anywhere else. I couldn't even rent it on YouTube. Like, I had to watch it on Apple Plus.
Do either of you have a guess? Not that I know that it is this sound for certain, but do either of you have an idea or a guess what the sound you hear is at the very beginning and the very end of the movie?
No clue.
I have no idea. No.
If you fire up the beginning of the movie at any time, if you feel like it, I feel like the sound we hear is the pull. It's maybe not even a pull string, but it sounds like a pull string of a spotlight that you would hear in a stage in an auditorium. It's
okay.
The sound of it is the sound of a spotlight turning on at the beginning and turning off at the end is what I believe that soundbite is. And
do you think Joel's approach of trying to blur the line between a stage and a film is better for the film overall?
Yes.
Because if I tried to watch, like, a Shakespeare play in film form, like, think about like Glengarry Glen Ross, right?
Sure.
Like, the fact that is approached as if it's real time, like as if it's just the film and not on a stage, I feel like that movie is better for it. But here, I feel like the fact that he tried to blur those lines really adds to the movie in a lot of ways.
No, it does. Like I said before, when we have such like minimalist set pieces and like the setting set pieces, I feel like it definitely adds to it because these performances are more, the performances were originally for a play, and because the set pieces are just so minimalist in that way, it adds to the performances, it adds to the story. I feel like it puts me there. But it doesn't put me there completely. It still does a good job of letting me know that Joel is trying to blur those lines between film and stage play. I definitely feel like it makes it better. It adds it as a plus sign, and it doesn't subtract from anything. Yeah. have to say it emphasizes the feeling.
Yeah, this movie's just great. I can't think of a single decision that went into the production of this movie that was bad. You know what I mean?
That didn't pay off. Yeah, that didn't pay off somehow.
Yeah, it just feels like a perfect mix, you know? It's just good, man. It's just a good movie. Denzel Washington is insane in this flick. Like you said earlier, I had no clue that he was Shakespearean trained, and seeing this movie, I could definitely see that he is. Like, he feels like he was born to play this role. He just he brings so much gravitas to every scene that he's in. It's just, you can't help but watch him. Like, you can't take your eyes off of him.
Yeah, and I've always felt that way with Denzel. Like, I'll probably sit through the Equalizer trilogy just because Denzel's in it. Not necessarily that they're great fucking movies, but just because I like Denzel that much.
And that's the thing about Shakespeare is you have to, like, not only know the words, but understand the words and the emotion behind the words. And his understanding of that and his portrayal of that is just on a tier that I wasn't expecting.
It's genuine. It's absolute genuine.
Yeah. And I feel that way about just about everybody in this cast. Like, yeah. Macduff is, I mean, we keep talking about Denzel, but
not even Macduff, but also Banquo. I feel bad for Banquo. Like, Banquo fucking kind of just got the short straw in the whole in maybe not like in direct comparison to like Macbeth, but like Banquo kind of just did get a short straw pull in this.
Bro, Macduff did nothing wrong. Like, my man's just existed, and then Macbeth killed his entire family.
Yeah.
Like, killed his kids, killed his wife, like, just took them all out. For nothing.
Yeah, there's a lot happening on the sidelines that probably deserves a little bit more of a lens.
I wouldn't hate if we saw a little bit more of what was happening outside of Macbeth's viewpoint. Like, I wouldn't have hated a little bit more outside of that. But at the same time, I think trimming this movie down was a good choice, at least for someone like me who just finds Shakespeare damn near impenetrable. It makes it bite-sized, but not in a way that it feels like it's trimming too much.
Yeah, I feel like we get a little bit of a break when we see Macduff's wife and son. When the son's asking her Lady Macduff about what a traitor is, and I feel like that's a decent break away from there could be like a scene or two that doesn't takes away from the spotlight of Macbeth, like Macbeth himself, a little bit more, but I feel like that's one example that does give us a little bit of a cleanser away from his psychosis, you know.
Well, and we need to see that too, because we need to understand why, you know, what he does to Macduff. You know what I mean? If Macduff had just if he would have said go kill his family, and then later Macduff shows up and says, "Hey, you killed my family," it wouldn't have had the same impact, and we wouldn't have cared half as much if we didn't get that scene with his wife and his kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's get some ratings here.
I want to give this a 10. I just feel like I need to deduct it somewhere.
Maybe because it's in black and white. Just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah,
I like that it's in black and white.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
I'll go ahead and go first. This is definitely a 10 from me, but that's more of a personal 10. I think I have a good time watching this movie. And the fact that I'm having a good time watching Shakespeare is definitely a plus.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't leave room for deduction. God, I'm giving it a 9.5. I'm just giving it a 9.5 because I know there's something that I want to deduct it for, but I can't. But I can't think of it just off the top of my head. But yeah, it gets a 9.5.
Here's Joe's inevitable 5 out of 10.
Not even. I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. You know, it's accessible Shakespeare. It's beautiful. The acting is extremely powerful. It's great, but to me, it's still Shakespeare. It's hard to interpret. There's one line that I gotta share with you guys. I don't know if you even remember this. Macbeth says, "Has he asked for me?" Lady Macbeth says, "Know you not he has."
Not he has. That's it. Yep.
Yes. Now I know that they're blending like actual Old English with modern. It's not actually like you would hear it in Shakespeare's time. So they're sort of preserving the old way of talking with some modern English. But I'm just like, wherefore would you say that? Wherefore? Sorry, I mean, why? Why would you say it? See, now I'm doing it. I don't.
There's some great quotable lines in here, though. On the other side of that coin, like
definitely, yeah.
I'm gonna mention.
No, not even if you called yourself a name in a more evil than any demon that's in hell. Or hold on, thou liest aboard torrent. With my sword, I'll prove the lie thou speakst. That's such a hard fucking line.
I'm gonna mention the line that my buddy Burton really adores from this whole play, and it really sets the it really sets a feeling of betrayal throughout the whole movie. Is away and mock the time with fairest show. False face must hide what the false face must hide what the false heart doth know.
Yeah. I don't know, man. There's that one from Macduff when they're on the wall. He's like, "I have no words. My voice is in my sword." Yeah. But once again, it's all about that delivery. Like, if I read that line, I'd be like, "Yo, that's pretty fire." But like seeing it delivered with that power behind it, it's like, "Ooh, I kind of get it. I kind of get why people like Shakespeare." Like, ooh.
Adds another layer to visual there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Once again, when you see the emotion behind it and you see what the intent is behind the words, it helps understand the words.
Of course, yeah.
Like, if I saw somebody just reciting that shit on a stage, not really understanding it, that I wouldn't care. I probably wouldn't even understand it.
Yeah, he definitely had the best disses, Shakespeare, back in the day. I'm here for that. Yeah,
For real though.
and that's all I got for my rating.
Slick. Well, what's our rec?
All right. So I know Jeff and I kind of discussed the talk about wanting to throw on like a side movie, because there's a movie that I want to finish watching. I only put down like the first 20 minutes of it. It is Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead with Tim Roth.
Is that your rec?
No, it's not. Sorry,
oh, damn.
because I feel like we need to end. We want to end this with something that's not Shakespeare. But I'm just mentioning it as what has pretty much narrowed me down on what my recommendation is. But I do have to suggest watching Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. It's Tim Roth opposite Gary Oldman. It's got Richard Dreyfuss is in it. It's just it's two side characters from Hamlet, from Hamlet, that are just sort of like spectating on what's going on in the whole Hamlet story. But
okay.
Very meta movie.
Yeah. But no, I think we have to end on like a high note, and because it has easily one of my, who is one of my favorite, my hero, my fucking lost love, Robin Williams. We're gonna watch 1996's The Birdcage. Is what we're doing.
Oh,
yes.
Yes. We have to end this with The Birdcage, because it just had. I feel like this is the perfect ender to the variety of play renditions, adaptations that we've done this whole run. So we're ending with
How could we watch a movie or a run of movies based on plays without including the gay community?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, it deserves to be seen in this run. So that's where we're landing.
That's a good pick. Yeah.
I can give you my rating on that bitch right now. We can just move on. 10 out of 10.
Personal Rex.
I fucking love The Birdcage, dude. It's one of my faves.
All right, and I'm sure the other guys will be happy to see this. So